Hey everybody, welcome to My Man. I'm your host today, Austin Brown. Today we're going to weigh some pros and cons on a movie called A Quiet Place. Now the pros, the movie's very good. It has an excellent cast. The acting is phenomenal. The movie's about this husband, wife, and their two children, a boy and a girl, living in a rural country area. I don't remember if the movie actually ever explains exactly where they are, but there's a lot of farmland. They've been caught in some post-apocalypse type situation where they're stuck in the middle of nowhere. If they make the slightest bit of noise, these monsters come out and they can attack and kill them. They're stuck here, living as quiet as possible, doing things like putting down sand so their footsteps aren't as loud outside, to using lanterns instead of lights so the electricity isn't as loud. It manages to put you into situations that have you on the edge of your seat, which is very good for a horror film, and it's been a very long time since I've watched anything like that. Most horror films in general usually aren't actually that well made. I think one of my biggest problems coming into this movie is that it was so hyped up that I begin to look at it as overrated, but that doesn't make it any less of a good film. And the movie's a solid 8 out of 10, which is a high rating for me with horror films. The cons really come down to how quiet the movie is. I said the acting's great. The acting's great for a movie that has what seems like 2 minutes of dialogue, which is good. A lot of the time when you go to make a movie, experts will tell you, show, don't tell. And that's exactly what this movie does, and does very well. Also, one of the biggest issues that's not really a con, but kind of is if you're going to see it in the theater, which seeing it in the theater is probably the best way to watch it. The movie's so quiet that you begin to realize how loud the theater around you really is. For example, I went in with some candy, and every time I tried to open the bag or grab any type of food, it was very loud and noticeable, which with a typical film you wouldn't even hear it because there's usually a lot more sound. This movie is very silent, but one of the things this film does also very well is it knows when and when not to use music. There are points where you get scared, but the jump scare isn't hyped up by music, and that's very important, and it's a very big cliche that is in a lot of horror films today. If anyone's talking in the theater at all, which I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like a lot more people are a lot more disrespectful in today's theaters. They talk a lot more, they're on their phones a lot more, and it's just a big issue that is so bad to the point where there's theaters specifically made for people that are allowed to be on their phones during the film as a way of advertising to people that we don't care if you do that. If you're going into this to expect the next great horror film, you'll probably be disappointed. But overall, this is a very solid film that I couldn't recommend seeing in the theater more. If you're gonna go on like a $5 Tuesday or whenever you have your discount night, and you'll get the most bang for your buck. Remember, you're not going to want to take in something loud, so get like pretzel bites because they're soft and they don't make a lot of noise when you eat them, which I wish I would have gotten like my wife, because candy is very loud, and I'm sure popcorn would have been very loud. From here on, I will start spoiling the movie, so if you don't want to be spoiled by anything, this is my spoiling part of the review. There's this one scene in particular that I really want to talk about, and I think it'll stick with me for the rest of my life when I think about films or just horror films in general, because it's done very well. The wife in the movie is walking up the stairs with a bag of clothes. She's got the baby bump, she's pregnant, which naturally makes you want to protect her. In your head, you have that defense mechanism on in your head that you're naturally supposed to protect a pregnant woman because of the baby inside her. As she's going up the stairs, the clothes catch on a nail, and as she's pulling at it, the nail stretches up. Once she gets free from the grasp of the nail and pulls away, and then it puts a lot of emphasis on the nail by that point to show that the nail's there, but it doesn't show the nail again for a minute. So you're just there thinking in your head, okay, I know the nail's there, I know it's going to serve a purpose, but at what point And then there's a scene, probably a good 10-15 minutes later, where she's getting chased by the monster. She's going through labor, so she has to be extra quiet. Your brain is going everywhere. You're wondering how she's going to get out of it. As she's walking down the stairs, trying to move as fast as she can. She's trying to run, but she can't run. And her whole foot steps into the nail, full force. She has to bite down and hope for the best that these monsters don't hear her.